So, I have a question. What's the most effective way to communicate with Chinese people today?
What do you mean? Don't more Chinese people speak better English today than, say, just 10 years ago?
Yes, but it's not about language that makes communicating difficult. It's not even necessarily about cultural differences that cause circular conversations, breakdowns in communications, and even disagreements that escalate into arguments.
So, what is it?
Well, I think it's that attitudes on both sides, especially those driven by ego, which is also psychological, tend to lead to expectations that aren't aligned enough to encourage listening. Rather, it becomes a battle of assertions expressed in absolute terms, leaving very little room for a constructive dialogue.
Is it possible to remove these obstacles to better cooperation?
Yes, but it begins with developing greater awareness and empathy, and applying those insights to create new communication patterns that are more likely to foster mutual trust and deepen the level of Guanxi. Let me give you an example. We all know that head nodding doesn't necessarily mean agreement in Chinese culture. But what about when potential partners are being non-committal during negotiations? Do you know what this means? And do you know what to do when they are non-committal?
Yes, it's really frustrating negotiating with Chinese people when they are always so non-committal.
Culturally and psychologically, there are many reasons why Chinese people may appear non-committal during negotiations. But one reason is their art of war instincts. When you are proactively offering more, whether it's just information or greater transparency on how you prefer to work, your Chinese counterpart is thinking, the less I say or commit to, the more you seem to offer in terms of information. So they are non-committal because you will just continue to give them more.
Wow, that makes sense. So, what should my strategy be?
Well, generally speaking, you should try to align on process rather than aligning on objectives and outcomes. This means you might need to be deliberately vague. Create more questions in their mind and force them to answer questions. Or better yet, force them to answer questions or commit to something before they can get a satisfactory answer from you regarding the next steps. Focus your attention on the process rather than the specifics, and the negotiations should progress much more smoothly and lead to a better outcome. In Chinese, it means focus on the process of developing the relationship, or the Guanxi.
Hey Jean, thanks so much. Now I can be a bit more relaxed when I negotiate with Chinese people.